and welcome back to the IronSquid Chapter 2 semifinal number 2, where right now DRG is up 1-2 against Nestea.
That was impressive.
Thank
I like
you.
that a lot.
As it started to form into words in my mouth, I was deeply pleased with how it all panned out in the end.
You know, it's actually, every time I cast DRG, I end up with scores, end up rhyming his name. I don't know how it ends up occurring. It just fits really nice.
Same thing happens with me and Marine King Prime.
Oh, God. Yeah.
We had these pickles yesterday, and they had this amazing Marine King brine that they were in.
Yeah. And anything else?
I mean, I have
just get out of your system,
I
man.
have plenty, but the third, fourth place match is coming up after this. We will wait until that point in time. And it looks like, a little bit of Russian out of the man in the bottom right, who is currently leading the series 2-1. He is MVP's DRG.
You know, you could have gone with Marine King Time for that. No, never mind. Okay, so spawning up to the northern position here as LGIM's and Nestea.
You know, I'm curious if Nestea is going to yet again go for this 10-pool play. I think that there's this best of X logic that ends up coming up very frequently. In this position, I don't think there's a lot of relevance to the fact that Nestea has done these 10 pools anymore. You might say, oh, I'm going to surprise him by going for a 15 hatch. But in reality, going for a 15 hatch here would generally be expected. So you'd have to do a very standard 15 hatch. You wouldn't be able to go, say, 15 hatch, and then build extra drones, and then build your gas, and build more drones, and build the pool. Those little risks like that, you can't quite get away with.
For me, I'm very, very happy with something like a 14 pool on this map, with just, you know, keeping yourself very, very stable. You don't want to take too many risks. It can be a little bit dicey sometimes. And for now, we'll have to see what people opt for, as it looks like we will have hatchery first on the way for DRG, and hatchery first on the way for Nestea. So, as you said before, the expected, like, predicted openings.
The crowd going nuts. The crowd, apparently, the enemies of Lings and Banelings. They came from various countries, and they're like, mid-game, mid-game. Mid-game we will indeed have. Now, this is a standard play to just go extractor pool, but you cannot be too greedy and think that you're going to fool your opponent in Nestea's shoes. If you did something like did a 10 pool in Game 1 and then did an extremely greedy play in Game 2, that would be a stronger use of that sort of metagame consideration.
And, you know, with these spawning gas timings even, neither really going to have that speed window unless somebody weirdly and boldly commits to something completely other than speed from the very get-go with that initial gas. Very rare, though. As for now, we do have DRG spotting his opponent's expansion.
So everything's pretty much expected. Now that Nestea is actually in the main base of DRG, sees absolutely everything that's going on. There's DRG spotting Nestea's main as well. I mean, you can very easily say, oh, hey, his pool's finishing at the same time as my pool. He must be doing the same build. You can also even click on the gas geyser and see exactly how much gas the enemy has mined, and then you know when it went down. So both players are deeply aware of what is going down. And again, it's that expected question. Both players going to be getting the speed, but will they do the defensive Baneling play or decide to do the Heideling play?
Yep, it's a good question. There is also the other option of going for a very, very quick Roach Warren before any Baneling nest or anything like that, which is a little bit rarer. Some people use it to transition onto that quicker layer, etc., but very defensively minded unless you're going for some crazy, crazy all-in across the middle of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even then, Ling Baneling works just as well, and you even have that flexibility should you so need. So we see the first move made by DRG. He plants his Baneling nest. Completely expected time for the typical defensive Baneling nest. Will Nestea go? Wow, there's the Roach Warren going down.
Yep. The Baneling nest in DRG's base, to me, is more of what I would consider to be an offensive Baneling nest, because, you know, it's kind of hidden in the back. It would require Nestea to actually scout it out. Yeah. Normally, you would see, you know, if it's going to be a defensive Baneling nest, it would be at the front here. Thank you, Funka. Oh, he like moves over there to tell exactly where I'm even going to say.
Hey, Funka, make a box where the Baneling nest should go.
He's going back. He's going back. What a boss.
Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's readjusting to make sure it's the exact right size, but, you know, this is actually kind of an interesting situation. Ordinarily, what Nestea is doing going for that very early Roach Warren would be considered a sort of slightly unusual defensive play. But we see Nestea hiding it in the back. That is almost always a sign that he is going to be going for some sort of large aggressive attack. There are the Roaches going down. See those two geysers that were built at the natural expansion? He wanted his opponent to see them so he can cancel it just like that. Nice little play from Nestea. He's very clearly going for this all-in. Now, Dongre-gu, on the other hand, is going to build a couple of Lings and build a couple of Banelings, which is the opposite of what he needs to be doing right now. He needs to be throwing down some heavy-duty defense. I mean, is Nestea really going to take this series 2-2, having done basically 4 all-in-ish looking attacks?
I don't know. I mean, like, if Nestea was this easy for me to read in terms of at the beginning and knowing what he would do on this map, then I think that, you know, DRG should be able to know this as well. It's pushing across, and he does see it with the Overlords.
But look at this, a third base going down by Nestea. He's not doing a 2-gas geyser all-in, going nothing but Roach Ling flood. He is just going for 12 Roaches, flooding only Lings, getting that ability to conserve a little bit of minerals, and soon he'll be throwing down his lair and doing a quick transition over into that Roach Ling. In the meantime, a powerful timing attack by Nestea about to hit the front door of Dongre-gu, who is fairly defenseless.
This is a very, very cool play here by Nestea, but he will be behind in terms of tech quite considerably. He's taking down a lot of those spines, though, before they're even completed.
No!
Whoa!
And it looks like the Lings on the right side about to hide, and the Banelings connecting with no Lings at all. Nestea is ravaging the front end of Dongre-gu's defenses. Lings continue to swarm. Nestea's not halting on the production at all, throwing down evolution chambers in his main base. Nestea's continuing the transition. He doesn't need it. It's good game.
Well, I guess DRG there just rushing up to that layer a little bit too quickly and trying to commit to that layer tech. Just saying, I sure hope you don't hit me. There you go,
Screw it. I'll throw my arms up as well. Join in. Look at that score screen. Gosh, the audience at IronSquid is nuts. Just a fantastically energetic crowd, and there's Dongre-gu noticeably disappointed.
He just cut way too many corners in that game. He cut entire blocks to the point where, you know, you can't do that. The police come along and tell you off. That's not the best way to be doing things.
He gets fined for cutting too many corners. The police officer says, Dongre-gu, be a little more straightforward. Dongre-gu may continue to fight the man, but Mr. Nestea, the cop, will continue to punish Dongre-gu again and again for said behavior. But what's most interesting to me about these plays from Nestea is that they're still not actual all-ins. The reason the term all-in became popular is because you're putting everything on that one attack. But every single play that we've seen Nestea do, all these early attacks, do have next steps. The third base going down, we saw the upgrades about to get started for Nestea, would be able to transition and be comfortable if this attack didn't work.
The only thing I'd be slightly scared of in that situation as the Zerg who was going for the Roach, if the Roach Ling pressure doesn't work out and you're on 3 bases without a layer and your opponent is transitioning on 2 base with 4 gas geysers to Mutalisks, defending 3 bases against that kind of thing would be really, really difficult.
With poor creep spread, I mean, you have to go nuts with the spore crawlers, but I mean, Nestea's being very clever with these attack timings. He's basically hitting a Mutalisk player when he's about to be doing the Mutalisk transition, but not after that.
Yep.
So now there's no air defense, but there's the maximum amount of time and resources invested in air without any air. So even if you are going for that Spire, you're going to have to hold the Mutalisks back. You're going to have to sacrifice tons of drones. And then even building 7 or so Spore Crawlers should be a reasonable spot for Nestea. True. In theory. I mean, honestly, Nestea now tied 2-2.
Didn't think it would get this far, personally.
And, of course, the final map that we'll be playing on is Daybreak.
Very, very nice map to end things on. As, you know, the third base always in high contention on this map. You do see a lot of Muta play from time to time, but I'm not a big fan of it anymore, to be honest with you. But anyway, I
Not anymore? I thought you were, like, I thought literally this morning you were a fan of Mutalisk play.
No. I mean on this map. Like, I used to be, but yeah.
I mean, actually, I was like in this series, like on Cloud Kingdom. I remember we talking about how much you like Mutalisk, and what happened in the last 15 minutes to just create this boiling hatred inside of you. But fortunately, it is all back. All here on this final match, Dongregoo. I mean, gosh, look at Dongregoo just trying his best to stay focused into this final match, but there's that clear disappointment where I honestly think the most frustrating feeling in all of StarCraft is when you have an elaborate game plan, 45-minute-long game plan. You know how to deal with mech, you know how to deal with bio. If you're playing against a Terran, you have every little detail worked out. You even know how you want your 5th and 6th expansions to go. And then you die to some 8-minute attack. Whether it's an all-in, whether it's just a fumble, it's so annoying to be like, oh my gosh, I have what? I have 37 minutes of strategy that I didn't get to see. No. That's right, I do maths on air. 37 minutes of strategy just thrown out the window. That is what causes this expression to happen. That feeling of I know that I have a stronger game plan. Game 1, I crushed Nestea in the long game.
Yep. He just has to go back to, I would say, standard stable, and just from that point on, I would say if DRG just pushed it into a mid-game and played his game with infestors, roaches, hitting here and there and everywhere, etc., he should be okay. But I believe we're going to be sending it to a commercial break. Yeah, and when we come back, it will be the final game between Dongregoo and Nestea. Whoever wins faces life. Whoever loses is eliminated, and we'll play in the 3rd, 4th place match against Marine King Prime. Stay tuned, guys. It's wrapping up right after this.